Welcome back, everybody, to WCS Premier League for StarCraft 2. We are in the round of 32 in Group D. We've seen a lot of action already. These players are fighting to make it to the round of 16 in the Season 2 finals in Toronto. And we've talked about this so many times already, but Huck, I am so excited to see those Canadian fans.
Me too. I think, what is it, like maybe Canadian, Polish, and French, probably the three top nations in StarCraft 2, I would say. I mean, I don't want to segregate anybody, but those crowds, it's just not the same. Not the same.
Definitely agree, and I'm sure you guys out there also are probably wondering how to get there. So we do have ticket sales right now. We have a second wave available online. So if you want to make it, please make sure to check that out and get your tickets, as it is going to be unforgettable for sure. Yeah,
and buy them ASAP. I think the last one sold out pretty quickly. You don't want to miss out on an event like this. So make sure to reserve them as soon as possible and make plans.
Now, today is all about Group D. We've already had 2 matches take place. Our first match of the day was IA defeating Xenocider 2-0 and Hearthstone defeating NXZ TvZ. I know that Hearthstone was the favorite that many people expected to make it out of the group, so that may not be surprising, but Huck, you were cheering for Xenocider pretty hard there, but he lost pretty handedly, actually.
Rub it in. Go ahead.
I'm just speaking the truth as it is.
Yeah, this is going to be a lot closer match, I feel. Both players kind of a little shaky at the start, but I feel they are more confident playing each other. So we'll see who comes out of this, and whoever comes out of this will have a better chance in the next matchup, facing the losers of the winners match.
Yeah, and just naming our next match, it will be Xenocider versus NXZ in this elimination match. These two players are in their debut Premier League, and it's just unfortunate that it's come down to this. Only one player can survive and keep their Premier League run going forward. Xenocider just had a tough loss against IA, and now he's playing another Zerg in NXZ. Huck, what does he need to do differently this time?
Well, he took the hoodie off. That's step one, so now he's more serious.
Actually, Marine Lord did the same yesterday, so I think he's doing that just the way he should.
And it worked out. Other than that, I don't know. Just be more confident in his play more to his style. I think XNZ is a worse player than IA. He's still very threatening, but maybe he's easier to play against just because he is a safer style Zerg.
So speaking of NXZ, we just saw that he had a very 2-0 loss from Hearthstone, and he did seem very affected by that loss. I saw his face after that series, and he seemed very, very disappointed in himself. Do you think that that's going to be a big factor headed into this match in terms of nerves, or is it going to be that he has nothing to lose now, so is he going to be able to just show us his real play?
He needs to have that mindset. He needs to be like, you know what, this is a weaker opponent probably. I have a better shot here. If I make it out of this, I'll be playing the loser of the winner bracket. And to be honest, you know, I'm the newcomer. No one expects too much from me. I can go ham, and he needs to do that. He needs to unleash the beast here.
So I almost feel silly asking you this because it's probably going to be Xenocider, but I'm going to put you on the spot. Xenocider or our Australian NXZ for this next series?
It's like USA, 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 or Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. I'm going to say USA all the way, baby.
All right, well, it's time to find out. It seems the crowd is also excited for this series. The casters for our next match will be Nathanius and Kane.
Thanks very much, Sue. The USA chant. You fan, Kane?
I'm a fan.
That's what I like to hear.
I'm a fan.
It's going to be another Terran versus Zerg. Xenocider tried to play seemingly as straight up as possible in the first series that we saw him in earlier today against IA, but IA showed a really dominating form, right? He crushed him with the roach push. He kind of baited Xeno into thinking that it wasn't going to be, you know, some sort of aggressive play, and then caught him with it. But in the second game, he lost in like just total straight up game. So realistically speaking, NXZ should just be looking to play a very straight up game, or is IA too much higher than him? Does he need to be more aggressive?
Well, yeah, I mean, Xenocider played very standard both of those games. So I think that NXZ really needs to keep an eye out in case Xenocider decides to switch it up, does something special, anything like that. But if I were NXZ here, I would definitely be just playing standard as standard could be. I'd be playing, you know, very carefully, scouting if anything might come my way, anything special, any cheeses or anything like that.
Yeah, I think the map pool looks pretty plain, pretty standard for Terran versus Zerg, Echo, Coda, Vani. These are 3 maps that I guess I would say most Terrans and Zergs can agree not maps that they struggle on. Especially, you know, I mean, maybe Vani versus Mech, but Xenocider hasn't shown that tendency yet today.
Right, and I mean, the first map, Echo here, it can be a bit hard for Zergs. Like, the 4th base can be a bit hard to hold versus parade pushes, which are, you know, pretty common these days. Xenocider is a big fan of that kind of playstyle. So this first map, I would favor Xenocider a little bit, but if NXZ pulls out something special, you know, the rush distances are very close, he might choose a Roach Baneling, anything like that. Because Xeno did open up that 3cc build both games last series.
Yeah, that is something that I'm going to be paying very close attention to. The possibility for NXZ to go for some sort of massive early aggressive push, maybe a Roach Baneling, or even just some sort of very fast Ling Bane attack, and try to take advantage of the fact that Xenocider likes to play 3 Reaper, which can delay your tech a little bit, but if he doesn't open up Banshee, then you have a lot more room to really bully a Terran player with early game aggression.
Especially on this map too. The rush distances are just so close. I mean, those roaches can get there in just, you know, I don't know, probably 20 to 30 seconds or something like that.
Yeah, it's very, very quick to attack. We are loading in. Thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you to our awesome crowd that we have here. Being extra loud for everybody.
Yeah, they're really getting into it today, aren't they?
Yeah. I can dig it. I can dig it. Of course, we've been enjoying your tweets, hashtag WCS and everything. We're loading into the first map of our lower bracket match. The loser of this best of 3 is done for Season 2 Premier League of WCS. This is a very important match. The winner has one more chance to play the loser of our next series. We are loaded in to Echo for game number 1, spawning in the bottom right position, representing Silicon Sports. He is NXZ.
He's rocking out a little, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh, you know what? He saw what Harsum was when he's like, you know, I just need to jam out. I just need to jam out. His opponent in the top left position, representing Evil Geniuses, is Xenocider.
Looking a bit more serious. You can tell that he's ready. He's taken off the hoodie, like you mentioned.
He knows. He knows.
He's good to go.
I think if we see him, if he's able to recover in this group and get through somehow, I think we'll see him bust out that Young Money Terran talent once more. As
Young Money, Cash Money, right?
Yeah. Well, he's one of those funky Terran players from North America. You know him. I think about him like players like Drunken Boy, and you know those are the guys that are like they're the kings. You know, they're the tunnel snakes of North American StarCraft ladder.
But don't forget who's the real NA king.
Yeah. Well, Kane, you do have the best results from NA. I can't really argue that so far this year. Not bad.
Huck is backstage right now, just rolling around.
Well, you know, the results speak for themselves. I don't need to say anything else. NXZ is going to go down to open up hatch first. Xenocider is doing exactly what we expect from him at this point. Just that fast gas, fast barracks, and I don't expect to see anything super crazy out of him in this map.
Yeah, what do you think about this 3 Reaper opening that Xenocider chooses to do continually? I'm not sure if I like it so much, just because it feels like you have to get a lot of damage done, and there's only really one place to jump up on this map.
So the way that I look at it as a Terran, and the way like when I see how opening 3 Reaper impacts Terrans, if a Zerg player wants to get like say crazy aggressive off of like a 1.5 or 2 bases, then cutting queens actually opens up the 3 Reapers to do a lot of damage. So I feel like it forces out that extra queen, which delays really crazy fast pushes. And then if it's a tech rush, same thing applies. So the 3 Reaper kind of allows you to know what's coming and sort of push things in a certain direction. Because I imagine as a Zerg player, like if you play someone who's going 1 Reaper, you're pretty free to do anything. But if it's 3 and you only open like 2 or 3 queens, like you're kind of vulnerable if the Terran player controls really well, right?
Yeah, the one thing I am concerned about here is if Xeno does open 3 Reapers, it delays the Hellions by a lot. Maybe something like a Ling Baneling all-in could be pretty strong against that. But we actually see NXZ here skipping the gas. So he is going for a gasless build, which means, you know, a lot of queens, a lot of minerals, a lot of Zerglings potentially later.
Yeah. He opens up with the 6 links to act as cannon fodder for this Reaper to buy time so that he can get the queen out. You do not want to lose any drones in this scenario. One of them gets quite battered. And Xenocider's actually running around quite a bit. That Reaper's taking a lot of damage. He needs to get out of there.
I think he could have targeted down that one low health Zergling if his mouse accuracy was
you
on point.
Gotta be careful, man. One misclick in that scenario. I know that feeling. It steps forward to hit the other Zergling, and then you lose the Reaper. You're like, that was almost really cool.
Yeah,
then,
not quite worth it.
Yeah, then you hate life. So yeah, he's going for the 3 Reapers once again. But this is the kind of scenario I'm talking about. Because he has 2 more queens on the way, if he hurts this one a lot, he can always like tuck it in the back of his main, and then have the 2 fresh ones pushing while still having another one that can bounce between the 2 if he really, really needs.
Very true, very true.
And with no Zergling speed, because Xenocider actually got to go so close into his base and he knows there was no gases, he doesn't actually need to bring his Reapers home. He can rally the Hellions out and just constantly put on endless pressure as his Reapers generate health. And because of that, Like, NXZ even put his creep tumor next to the hatchery. He didn't want to even try to get it close to the ramp.
Yeah, and he's actually losing a lot of Zerglings here, which I don't really like. He lost all 6 Zerglings. I would have liked to see those at the top of the ramp. He might lose a Queen here. And he does, wow. He loses 1 Reaper.
You know, for how many Lings he killed and the Queen, I think losing 1 of the Reapers, I think it's acceptable.
Worth it.
Still not, you know, you never want to lose the Reaper for anything, but except for like a couple of drones. But I think a Queen with those Lings makes it okay. And if he pokes up again, he'll see this Roach Warren. And I mean, from NXZ, does this look like is this going to be a 2-base Roach push? Is he going to try to punish the 3 command center style that Xenocider is going towards again?
With the 3 gases, he could definitely do a Roach Baneling. He could, you know, save up a lot of gas, make a lot of Banelings all at once. But we don't see any Zergling speed on the way quite yet.
Xenocider's actually mixed it up, too. He's opted for a starport opening this game. He is not rushing out fast stim. He's not opening up double engineering bay. He did go for the 3 command centers, but he got a second gas.
Yep.
And for me, without seeing that gas in the early game, as a Terran, you think about what your opponent's options are, and it's usually either that Muta play, which you want to run Hellions by for, as this Reaper comes in, he sees this lair, and he saw the Roach Warren. Like, you're like, okay, well, if I open up with a Banshee, I don't need to get Cloak, but that Banshee will make me safe against Roaches, because off gasless play, usually Roach plays are reasonably common.
Yeah, I'm quite interested to see what NXZ does here. I mean, he has those 2 Evos coming up. And to me, this Banshee play from Xeno it signifies very safe play. He doesn't want to die to any early all-ins or anything like that.
Because there's no Cloak, right? You can't really get aggressive with a Cloakless Banshee.
And he's starting Stim, so it is going to be bio play. So he's just sticking to his guns here. And NXZ is coming in for the Overlord Scout. He will see that it's bio. The 3rd CC is done, so he is getting range upgrades for the Roaches, though. It might be like a 1-1 Roach speed timing or something like that.
You know, when I play Terran versus Zerg, if your opponent is going for Roach Hydra, it's a lot about how fast the production scales, right? Because you can put out a crazy amount of supply of Roaches for a 1-1 push, and if you're going to do something even crazier and go for, like, you know, Roach Hydra to follow up against Bio, the advantage is that you can get out a crazy number of Roaches and Hydras early on. So the Terran player, the more he invests into like this Banshee, even this Viking early on, it can make defending that follow-up pretty difficult. Like, does NXZ, with the timing of all of this, does he have an opportunity to go for that big push, do you think?
I'm not sure. I think that he might have like a small timing window, but Xeno is getting a Marauder here. I think he might even... Yeah, his production is pretty strong right now. He hasn't started his upgrades quite yet, so he's not playing too greedily. He's just making sure that his units are going to come out on time. He's going to be safe versus any Roach timing.
He's even getting Burrow with this.
Yeah, so I think it will be a timing of some sort. I don't see him going into Roach Hydra, but he does have the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, the Banshee sees some Roaches out on the map. He doesn't see a massive swell of Roaches, but I mean, the Queens can also push that away. And much like ZVZ, you get rid of that air spotter and try to push again. But the Hellions are watching the south side. He's actually got a Hellion headed over towards the north side, and he has the Banshee watching the center. So if a big Roach push comes, he will have time to see it coming. And look how further advanced these bunkers were. Like, he told himself, I do not want to die to a Roach push again. I have everything that I need to defend. Now it just comes down to my control. He even has a siege tank, and as a Terran player, doesn't like to play around with tanks too much, and say, like, that is his way of saying he really, really does not want to take damage from these Roaches at all.
Yeah, and I think it's very smart. And with that, actually, NXZ he transitions into Aspire, which is quite good. I think
It's immediately scouted too.
Yeah, and he's getting Zergling speed, so it might go into like a Roach Baneling Zergling Muta kind of play. But that's kind of doing a lot of things at once. I'm not sure how that will work out for him. I think that Xenocider, he's just playing very standard at this point. He might even try some drops soon, but we don't want a repeat of yesterday with Marine Lord, where he lost the 2 medevacs.
Yeah, you need to play very, very cautiously with your forces. Actually, a 3rd Evolution Chamber to get 2/2 for the Roaches, but also +1 melee. So he's actually going to switch into like a Roachling Bane with...
I wonder if he'll go Corruptors.
That's a really interesting question, because usually it is Mutas, but some other players have pushed the Corruptor thing. Now that I think about it.
With this, he won't have very much gas. He'll only be able to afford, like, say, 6 or 7 Mutas, which isn't a lot.
Yeah, I think the Corruptors could be more useful at targeting down the medevacs during the engagements.
I think so too, yeah. And with smaller amounts of gas like that, normally you do want to go into Corruptors instead of Mutas. So we'll see here.
I think the biggest weakness of this style, and you can let me know if you agree or not, but he's going to have very late Baneling speed, right?
It'll be very late, and these medevacs are moving across the map, so he might be able to get a cancel on this 4th base. In fact, I think he will. The Roaches are on the other side of the map.
Is the next focus after that, you think the most important thing for NXZ is the creep spread? I really like this Burrowed Roach. Wow, that's annoying.
Yeah, and his creep spread is really good at this point. I mean, it's almost halfway across the map. He is going to go for that cancel on the 4th base. He does get it.
Yeah,
and
really
the medevacs
nice.
are going to fly into the 3rd or possibly the main.
There's like an SCV over there. He got brought on a not so fun field trip. And there are those 2 drops, so Xenocider's going to try to make something happen. He's building 3 mines at a time. He already has that 2nd factory. And with that tech lab that he had from earlier from building the tanks, he could actually go for a quick drilling clause as well and make a transition into Thors if he realizes that it's mutas. The Marines get into the main base, though. The Zerglings coming up, but he picks off a few drones, lays the gas mining. In this position, the Zerglings can't even get it surrounded. He cleans up all of them inside the main base.
Yeah, and the melee upgrade was not done yet, so those Marines really can kill them quite quickly.
Oh, yeah, that's right. The Medevac's healing power for +1 armor Marines. If Zerglings are behind in an upgrade, it's really difficult to actually kill Marines that are being healed.
And these mutas do kill that medevac with 7 Marines in it. And he will clean this up, but not before taking some damage. Losing some mining time, losing a couple drones.
Was this worth it for a Xenocider to lose those medevacs, you think?
I think so. I think it was quite an even trade. I mean, NXZ didn't lose too much, but Xenocider got all the information he wanted. He saw the mutas. He can prepare missile turrets now. And yeah, he's just going to clear creep in the middle of the map. Very, very nice play by Xeno so far.
Yeah, getting these creep tumors, I think, is one of the most important things he can do. Since he already killed the 4th base once, it's obviously more difficult to get the creep spread out of that position. So these queens coming up are very important. He wants to keep the ability to go for a counter later on if he has that opportunity, or even just to run around and defend. Because he's got the +2, right? He has the +2 out carapace, the +2 range, so those roaches are still quite beefy, and he's still, he's still mixing in roaches. He's got 21 of them on the map. It takes up a lot of his supply.
Yeah, but they're going to be very tanky during the fights. I mean, if he sends them first and then the Banelings behind or something.
Yeah, I mean, Widow Mines are useless against them.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I am very concerned about, though, is what you mentioned earlier. NXZ still hasn't started his Baneling speed, and that's going to come into big play during some of these engagements.
Yeah, actually, that's a really point. I was like, I know it'll be late, but he actually just never started it.
And he's
there's
going for
siege
a big
tanks,
counter.
too.
Yeah.
Do you think this counter is the ideal play?
I think it's quite nice. It'll pull back Xenocider, for sure.
Yeah, that's the goal, is to just buy time. And Xenocider splits off some of his forces to that 4th base once again. Maybe he'll get the kill to cancel. But he does bring back a large portion of his army. He's building barracks. He's shutting down the production. He breaks down the wall, closing off the supply cap for Xenocider as he continues to run home. Now, the real big question that I'm having as he starts to push in, he shouldn't be able to kill this command center. Some of the SCVs should be able to survive, but can Xenocider go for a counterattack after this play? Because these roaches are going to trade out as best as they can with that 2-2.
Well, actually, right now in the 3rd base of NXZ is the 2 medevac Marine drop, and it's doing quite a bit of damage. And meanwhile, the roaches do get cleaned up.
Yeah, those +2 roaches still traded nicely. Oh, he got the 3rd hatchery. Really nice for Xenocider.
Yeah, so now he's on his 2-base economy. His 4th got cancelled, and his 3rd is dead.
And I guess since Xeno has the 3rd, his 3rd was still mining unabated this whole time. And he still has triple mule. Economically speaking, he's actually only down 7 SCVs. So with 3 mules, he should be in a phenomenal position.
Yeah, and if you look at the supply count, that's really reflected. Yeah. I mean, he's over 30 supply ahead at this point.
Yeah, and he's starting that +3 attack, and that's when the bells start ringing for the Zerg player, since he is so far away from a hive. That mutalist count not threatening whatsoever. Low. He has 4 mutas, and he's building 3.
Oh, these Widow Mines. Oh, he backs up just in time.
And Baneling speed is about to finish. Maybe a little too late.
Definitely a little too late. And now he lost a large majority of those roaches, so there's nothing too tanky. I mean, he has a few roaches remaining and some queens, but really, those aren't going to do too much during this big fight that's going to be coming up maybe in the next couple of minutes.
Yeah, and the one thing that does really suck for Xenocider after the way that last fight went was his extra barracks he was producing got destroyed, so he has to rebuild them, get the add-ons again, and that slows down his max out potential. I guess I'm a little more surprised he hasn't tried to get a 4th command center because his production got delayed, but I suppose a 3-3 is more important.
Yeah, and this push is looking very scary. His 3-3 is going to be finishing up in the next couple of minutes here. But he's going to go for a push before that and try to kill this 4th base again, I think.
Yeah, he goes for this run by, but there's not too many Zerglings left here. Maybe he gets a couple of SCVs. Shouldn't get too many.
Yeah, and with this hindered economy, I don't know if NXZ can really afford to kill these Zerglings.
Does Xeno realize? Oh, okay, he realizes. I think one missile turret revealed like a Ling on the edge. He's like, okay, let's scan. Let's make sure there's no Zerglings hiding here.
Yeah, nothing's getting by Xeno at this point.
Yeah, really, really smart awareness from Xenocider to not immediately look away when those Zerglings stopped killing his SCVs. And he has that drop in the bottom. I think that's 4 Widow Mines inside of that medevac, probably.
It is, yep. And there is 1 Spore Crawler in the natural, so he will be able to see them, but if he doesn't react in time, it could result in a lot of drone losses.
NXZ's done a pretty reasonable job of climbing back up in supply, though. With the gas bank he has, he just needs time to get minerals for Banelings, right?
And these Banelings roll in, but the engagements is a lot of off-creep engagements here, so yeah, I'm not sure if that...
There's a lot of Marauders, too.
Yeah.
This is really tricky. I mean, Xenocider just has that massive supply lead. He doesn't have his 3-3 yet, but the splits, like these Banelings do not clean up enough of the Marines for the Mutas to actually finish all of them off. The Roaches are going to try to make a play, though. He could retreat to the mines. Those Marauders just wrecked the Roaches so hard, though.
Yeah, and I mean, the Marauders stay alive for such a long time with the Medivacs healing them that he just took that engagement so convincingly.
Yeah, that was like the best trade NXZ was going to get, because now we have 3-3 coming in the next minute or so. That Widowmine gets all the rest of the Banelings, and Xenocider, like if you're not playing versus the heavy Baneling, like NXZ is trying so desperately to get Roaches and Lings out that he's banking 2,000 gas.
Yeah, and now +3 attack is done for Xeno as well.
And this is all Xenocider really needs. He's going to try to secure this 4th base, that Burrowed Roach being a pain in his side, as it were. But that's really, if that's the only thing you have to worry about, a Roach delaying your 4th, when you're 20 minutes into a TvZ, I think you're pretty happy as Xenocider.
Yeah, absolutely. And the composition that NXZ has gone for here is not the best. I mean, he has a lot of Roaches, which they're not very good against 3-3 bio.
Yeah, I think if he had spent the minerals on Lings, maybe he could have afforded to turn more of them into Banelings. But the mineral count is just so low. The Banelings come down the ramp onto creep, but the spread on the Marines prior to this fight, too good. Xenocider's up 40 supply, knocking down the Mutalisks, knocking down this 4th base once again. And GG is called. Xenocider, our American Terran, goes up 1-0.
Yeah, very convincing game from him. He didn't make any big mistakes during that time. He handled the counterattack from NXZ very well.
He didn't take chances in this game. Like, he recognized that if NXZ watched the first series, which, he certainly would have against IA, and he's like, okay, well, I went 3 command centers, pretty greedy both games. I shouldn't be so greedy this time, especially because he opened up gasless, which means there's that potential for the early Roach shove, and if you don't have that Banshee, the Banshee didn't really kill that much, to be honest, but it also saw everything. And then, we look at plays like this where Xenocider recognized, okay, he still split units off to the 4th, which in my opinion is one of the most important parts of this, because if you bring everything back and don't kill the 4th, NXZ gets a lot of time to mine off that base. Losing that income is why he starts to spike in gas count right here. Like, yes. He's over 1,000 gas with barely any minerals.
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, what's off camera here is that Xeno did go into the main and the 3rd base. Yeah. And like you said, he did manage to kill that 3rd base.
Yeah, getting the 3rd during all of that, it's really weird, because you build the more mineral heavy unit and you're like, oh, well, the Roaches are cheap, right? But it actually caused him to bank an crazy amount of gas. With 2,000 gas, the number of Banelings, like, if he had all of that turned into Banelings, disregarding the low mineral count, like, that should be enough to stop an army or two of Xenociders when he makes those big pushes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so tough.
NXZ looks like he's taking these losses pretty hard. Like, after each game, you see his head buried in his hands.
Yeah, he's got to be nervous. A lot of these guys, maybe Xenocider, one first time playing Premier League for WCS, but he's played on stages before. He's won offline tournaments, and he's the kind of guy that he gets around enough that, yeah, okay, maybe this is like one of the biggest stages that he's going to be playing on, but he can handle it. And yeah. NXZ, this is like, well, man, you're playing in front of this many people for the first time.
Yep. And this is his first time playing in the tournament outside of Australia, actually. So I can imagine he's feeling quite nervous. Xeno does have the hometown advantage,
Yeah. It's still a really cool result. The Aussie scene is quite awesome. It's always a pleasure to follow those guys, everything that they're doing.
And they do have a lot of LANs and online tournaments down there.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting to follow who's up and coming.
Shout out to any of the Aussies tuning in.
Aussie.
I watch the ACL whenever I get a chance. It's good stuff. We're just getting things set up here before we move into game number 2. Of course, really appreciate all of you tuning in online, those of you tweeting with the hashtag WCS. This is the last group that we're going to be broadcasting from our studio here in Burbank, Southern California. The rest of the groups for the round of 32 are going to be played out over the course of the next week from our studios in Cologne, Germany. And then we're going to go to Toronto, Kane.
We're going to go to Toronto.
Toronto's going to be awesome. One of the biggest events, actually, that I'm pretty much looking forward to all year. Just not only for the crowd, but just, Toronto's such a cool place.
Yeah, I mean, the city's beautiful. You have the CN Tower.
Yeah, we went to the aquarium there. We went to the aquarium together.
Ripley's Aquarium.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah,
that was
great. Really
fun. Like looking at sharks and stuff. Toronto has so much cool stuff there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's a really nice city.
Yeah, I think I'm really excited to go back. We're in the lobby now for game number 2. We'll be playing on Coda. I think similar makeup as far as map layout goes. I don't know that anything changes too much, except, of course, the third base is slightly more open to harass.
Yeah, but with that comes the fourth base that is in the corner a lot of the time for Zergs, and it is a bit easier to hold than on Echo.
Yeah, that much is true. Taking the fourth base a lot less complicated. And there's still that pretty open drop path / Mutalisk path. I guess it depends on who really is controlling the momentum of the game, because if you're the Zerg player and you're ahead, hitting with Mutas on that main from the fourth is super easy. It's like really, really powerful. But if the Terran's ahead, then you're like, well, now I've got drops coming in, and it's a nightmare, especially considering that NXZ didn't really show a Muta-heavy style in game number 1.
One thing that I would really like to see from NXZ here is maybe, I don't know, an early cheese or something like that. Xeno has been opening quite greedily, so if NXZ does get the opportunity to punish that, that could be very nice.
Yeah, I feel like bust out, and I know this because he's from that region. If he busts out like a Fenner build, you know, just some crazy fast roaches, I think
Fenner loves his roaches.
Oh yeah, I've lost more than enough games. I know how fast those roaches come. The 3 command center Banshee doesn't save you.
Absolutely not.
No, maybe bust something like that out. We'll see if he can. He is our Red Zerg player in the Northwest, playing for Silicon Sports. He's NXZ. Now I'm thinking about Fenner roach builds, and I'm very sad.
Nightmares.
Nightmares. Every game. Every single game. In the bottom right position. As the blue Terran player representing evil geniuses in America, he's Xenocider. Do you ever do those builds? Those early roads?
Sure, I'm not afraid to cheese.
So like, I've got 20 drones and I'm pushing you?
Oh, absolutely. All the time.
You're an awful person. That's like the bane of every Terran's existence on ladder.
I mean, yeah. And I would love for NXZ to bust a build out like that right now.
I think it would be really smart, considering, as you said already, the Hellion follow-up is late, which means dealing with a Zergling, like a Baneling push with roaches is more difficult. It's harder to get them out in time to be on the map and kill Lings before they cross over.
Yep.
And that, in turn makes it difficult to stop them from becoming Banelings and, breaking down your wall. And on the same hand, of course, that also delays any other form of follow-up tech, such as Banshees to deal with roaches. Is there anything else that this map in particular opens up as far as cheese goes? Is this like maybe a 2-base cheese, like Nidus or 2-base Muta?
I mean, Nidus is always a bit risky, especially with the main being this small, because it's not very big at all. I mean, there is a couple spots that you can put it, but I wouldn't. I would love to see either a 2-base Muta or a 2-base Roach push. Maybe with a fake third or something like that.
Yeah.
But one thing I always notice with new up-and-coming players is that sometimes they're a bit nervous to bust out that cheese, especially when you're down a couple games and, you might be, your tournament
You're
life
like thinking
might be
to yourself, there's no way that would work. I can't I can't just cheese him here on the, I can't just cheese him here playing in the official WCS tournament. There's too much pressure.
Yeah, and you want to show like really long, good macro games, but sometimes that cheese is the best thing to break out.
Yeah. I guess that's like the hardest part of all of it is the top players will always mix in that cheese, but when you're so new to playing on this sort of level at this sort of stage with so many people watching, you get to that point where you're like, do I want to be known as the guy that tried to cheese and just got knocked out really fast?
Yeah.
At least I want to try to put up a good fight, and I can understand and respect that.
Yep, this Reaper is going to come in here with good drone micro. He shouldn't lose this.
Yep. Oh, the Reaper tries to actually block him.
He actually gets it.
No, he blocks. If you hold position on the extractor, you can actually block them from placing on it.
Oh,
the drone.
Oh, that was very close. He could have actually held position on that drone and maybe trapped it, but that would have taken a lot of...
he would have had to move really quickly with that.
Yeah, very, very quickly.
If that drone had caught him, though, that's a cash money grab, especially considering that it's another 3 Reaper opening with, 2 command centers so far. I'm expecting to see the second command center as soon as he can afford it.
And with that, yeah, did he actually just open 1 Reaper this game? No.
He's got his third one
there's
on
the
the
second
way,
one
too.
and the third one.
Yeah. He's going to start putting pressure. It goes without saying, NXZ does not want to lose a queen this time around, and this still makes it very tricky because if he wants to get aggressive, then that's obviously going to really, really slow him down. But he still opened gasless again.
Yeah, which is a bit strange on this map, I think. I mean, the ledge is quite large. You can jump up there. And sometimes Zerglings can't really catch those Reapers.
Even the ramp into the natural is wide enough that making pushes into it with like Banshees or Hellbats is something that I think is more than viable. In fact, it's quite strong on these maps. I mean, Xenocider is still just playing his game, though. As he harasses with the Reapers, he's going up to 3 command centers and just 1 gas, so I'm expecting to see him Maybe just the Cloakless Banshee again, possibly after another gas opening, just saying, okay, I'm going to play straight up bio. And he even kills a Queen again.
And another drone. And he does lose a Reaper for it, but I think it's worth it. I mean, you just killed a drone and a Queen, which is really important.
Well, let's think about it compared to last game, right? He killed the Queen and the 6 Lings and lost 1 Reaper. Now, he lost 1 Reaper. He killed the Queen, 6 Lings, and 2 drones.
Yeah.
And that is...
really good.
You're feeling good. If you're a Xenocider, that is actually more than okay. You're very, very happy in this position.
And since he doesn't have speed, these Reapers can shell away at this hatchery for a long time. He'll get it down to quite low health, I think. I mean, the Queen will come and probably save the hatchery, but it's still going to be on quite low health.
Yeah, the Reaper is still just poking away, and you know, it's not about killing or canceling the hatchery now. It's about setting himself up if he makes a push later on, and that hatchery is just at, like, 75% health. If he tries to target it down, that can be the difference maker in being able to get a big catch like that. And he's still whittling away the health on these Queens because there's no Speedlings to come out and actually stop him from just pressuring endlessly.
And the Reapers can just go back, regenerate their health, and go again. NXZ is getting a Roach Horn here and 2 Evos once again.
Yeah, Xeno is opening with that Cloakless Banshee again. I guess he's in a position where he could try for Cloak, but I think considering the lair timing, it wouldn't be, it wouldn't be the most advantageous position to go into.
I really don't like this Roach Opener from NXZ here. I feel like...
You think he should go faster roaches or no roaches?
No roaches. I think that he's almost playing a bit too safe versus somebody who's playing very greedy. And as we know, greedy usually beats safe play.
Yeah, that's true. It's something that we were actually discussing with potentially what Ayasanu could actually bust out versus Harsum. Kills another Queen.
And he's going to run by.
Oh,
he could get a lot of drones here.
Yeah.
We need to see some really good drone splitting out of NXZ.
Roach tries to block the ramp. He fails. He sees the lair finishing, so he gets perfect read on the lair timing. Immediately roasts 4 drones, up to 5 now. 7 drones killed. And these Hellions just continuing to run around as much as they can. One of the Reapers has escaped. 8 drones for a ton of information. And, of course, the Queen kill. Not bad. Not bad at all by Xenocider. But the Hellions weren't going to be useful against the Roaches anyway.
That's true, but now he's lost all map control, and NXZ is free to shred creep as much as he wants. But the Banshee's going to come in here, and there's no Spore Crawler.
That Queen is actually quite injured, too, so that Banshee could win the fight 1v1 pretty easily, assuming the next Queen doesn't come up to defend that fast. Actually, there's no transfuses available, so it still could be a very real threat.
Yeah, and the Banshee is going to come in here, try to do some damage. And the Queens are actually out of position. They're at... Where are they, actually?
Yeah, well, there's 1 at each base because he lost all the extra Queens he had. He only had 3 Queens, so to get injects, he had to keep them super spread. So now the Banshee kills that one.
Yep.
It takes a while for the next Queen to come over. Actually, that Queen went to go plant a Creep Tumor, so has even further to go. And now the Banshee just gets to rain fire from above.
Free range, and meanwhile, NXZ is moving across the map with Roaches, but what can these really get done with a bunk? Actually, Xeno is building 2 bunkers right now. He's playing very safe.
He's not taking chances. I don't think his wall is actually closed off perfectly. I think the Roaches could maybe squeeze through that, but he still has what he needs. And actually, he realized, okay, Roaches are going home. He cancels those bunkers, starts some more depots. He's killed 16 drones this game. He's Xeno's a happy boy.
Ahead in workers right now, which is always good for Terran with those.
Well, considering the mules, like his income is way ahead of NXZ's right now. Like, not even remotely close. So the one thing that NXZ has that these builds usually give Zerg over Terran is the 1-1's going to finish faster for him than Xenociders. But the economic damage and the Queen damage that he's taken, can he actually produce enough units to take any advantage of this upgrade lead?
I really don't think so. Right now, NXZ, his economy is so low. He's getting range upgrades, which really aren't going to be that useful unless he does a big Roach shove.
Yeah.
I don't see... Yeah, I don't see what he's really trying to do with this.
There's no Spore. The Banshees are going to run into this 3rd base and just immediately get to work.
Yeah.
1-1's going to finish up, but...
He's going to focus down the hatchery, and if he gets that, I mean, that would be absolutely huge. I think he will actually get it.
He softened it up so much from earlier. Now he comes out, he's like, oh, this isn't that many Roaches at all. It's like, yes, I did kill quite a few of your drones. You can't just afford to build 30, 40 Roaches and just kill me. Snipes that 3rd base. The Queens all show up. Bit late to the party there. And now, with Stim and Marauders and Medivacs, he has every tool that he needs to clean up the Roaches at his 3rd base. Maybe he wants to wait for just another wave of units or 2. Don't take any chances and just push in.
Yeah, and
go for a drop. That also works.
I mean, NXZ's Roaches are all across the map. They do have Roach speed, but it's going to take a long time for them to get back home. And NXZ, since he is making Zergling speed in Aspire, so he should be able to defend this drop pretty easy with those Zerglings rallying out.
Yeah, this is just falling apart, it feels like, for NXZ right now. He's going to finish the Spire soon with only 500 gas and this bio coming out. Like, you need Banelings to stop these types of pushes. Going straight for Mutas is going to be really, really tricky. I guess the Roaches can maybe force the lift up, and then the Mutas can try to kill the Medivacs. But once he gets a good amount of bio, that gas expenditure becomes more important than anything else in the game, right?
And Xeno's just going to clear up this creep because there is no mutas to kill those medevacs, so he kind of has free range if he keeps lifting up and, you know, moving around the map like this.
What does NXZ need to do to bring this game back to equilibrium?
I think he needs to first stabilize, get up that third base economy, and his creep spread is quite good right now. He needs to continue that and just take really good engagements on creep. He needs to be very patient and just take the optimal engagements.
Yeah, that seems to be the only option right now. And as far as the macro goes, it's, you know, just powering out and being greedy isn't an option anymore because this army is just on his front door. He snipes the drone after canceling the 4th base, and now even scanning to kill creep tumors. Like, there doesn't seem like there's a lot of opportunity. Catches the Banshee in the northeast, which is nice.
Yeah, and Xeno's multitasking is quite good here, except he is going to lose some of these units he picks up. But those 2 medevacs at the 4th base are actually doing quite a bit of damage, killing some banelings.
And you know what? Once again, very, very late baneling speed. He hasn't even started it.
Yeah, definitely a mistake. I think we're seeing a lot of nerves out of NXZ here. I'm not...
Oh, kills the 4th without even canceling it. I think you're spot on there, Kane. Like, the Roach is forced to lift up, but now he's like, okay, well, this is how I play. This is how I play Terran. I'm just gonna pick up and go where you're not. And there's no Mutalisks, so there's no reason for me not to keep doing this. He doesn't have enough minerals to actually spend his gas into mutas.
Yeah, and if you look at the supply count, I mean, Xeno at this point is almost 50 supply ahead. He's way ahead in economy.
I think we could see him try to just push this in as he hits 2-2. Like, I'm not entirely sure. Like, the +2 upgrades have only just begun for NXZ. Xenocider will have at least a minute window, and I think that's going to be so difficult to stop for NXZ. He's actually pressuring in the northeast. He's like looking for a 4th. There is no 4th, so just keep pressuring the 3rd.
And this is the disadvantage of opening roaches. You don't have those early mutas to defend these drops. And we can really see that with the multitasking of Xeno here.
Yeah, this is a very, very tense moment right now. As we do have a pause from NXZ. So just want to make sure everything is all right over at his PC with everything, with his setup. Of course, a very, very tense moment. Not a situation where you want anything to happen. But, all right, since it looks like you're going to be talking to the admin just a little bit, let's talk a bit more about that Game 1 setup. You know, is it worth it more to have the massive amounts of roaches to buffer in that mid-late game than it is to be able to equally spend the money between Zerglings and Banelings?
Yeah, so normally what you want a few roaches to tank. And what NXZ has been doing is he's opening with roach upgrades, which I find very strange. We are getting back into the game here.
Yeah, but he did the roach upgrades this game too. You know, is this something that you see a lot of, or
not at all? If you do the roach upgrades, usually you see a big push. Usually you see a lot of roaches.
It's all about like a timing.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because otherwise your melee upgrades are delayed, your Spire might be delayed. Like everything is just a lot later.
Yeah, and with Zergling upgrades being behind against Bio, it's just, especially when you're mixing in Marauders. Like Marauders have base armor of 1. So when they're at +2, your Zerglings with only +1 attack are doing like 2 or 3 damage a hit. Yeah. And then you consider the medevacs are healing like 4 health per second.
Forever.
You actually can't kill the Marauders when they're soaking up all that damage, especially when you have so many of them, they're blocking each other off, you can't get surrounds. 2-2 is about to finish up for Xenocider, and this is where he tries to make his big push. Mutas have finally come out to try and deter the drops, but he's still all over the place. He's still having a hard time actually stopping everything. The pressure's hitting on both sides. His main, his 3rd base, he's pushing the 4th again. NXZ's going to try to stop this, I guess, one last time. If he cleans this army up and has enough bio left over to kill the 4th, I don't see how NXZ could bring this game back.
Yeah, and that Thor is absorbing so much damage as well. I mean, Xeno's all over the place here, like you said. At the 3rd base, he's actually going to kill it again.
Oh, boy. And the Mutas come over here one at a time. The Marines just pepper those down easily. The Queen step forward, eat some Widowmine shots. And there's a couple of Marines marooned out in that main base of NXZ. But Xenocider's up 100 supply. Like, he can't be stopped now.
Yeah, and I mean, NXZ is getting some Corruptors out to deal with the drops. But I'm not sure if that's enough at this point. I mean, he's almost double the supply. Xeno is maxed out. If
you can't afford a critical mass of Mutas, the Corruptors are going to do something. But no Banelings with this army means Xenocider should roll straight on through it. He does not want to drop out. Not here. Not yet. 2-2 is going to finish up for NXZ, but dropping below 100 supply, I don't think it's going to work. Xeno remains maxed. 20 more Zerglings on the way. There are no Banelings on the field. Xenocider wants to get a potential rematch. He wants to stay alive and have one more shot to get out of this group as he kills this 4th, as he continues to pressure the 3rd. I think he's going to get that opportunity. NXZ drops below 90 supply now. Barely any Zerglings trickling out. There's nothing left.
Yeah, I mean, the Corruptors just aren't enough. They don't even shoot the ground at this point.
Yeah, and they just eat a ton of Widowmine shots. GG is called, and Xenocider keeps the American dream alive here in the World Championship Series Premier League. USA chants come out of the crowd.
Very good. And I mean, Xeno, he needed what needed to be done here. He did it.
Yeah, I mean, he tuned his build slightly against the potential of aggression that you could see come out of players that, you may not play too much on ladder, right? You don't want to play 3 CCs, double engineering bait, because as good as you are, unless you're like, I don't know, Maru, you're not just going to get away with that and then have someone bust you, right? Like, it's good. You can be so much better than someone, but if you put yourself in such a position to be all in, you're really asking for it at that point. So Xenocider didn't cut any corners with his build orders. The Reapers did more than enough damage in both games, and he just set himself up from the very beginning to play a solid game where he could at the very least be aware of everything NXZ was up to.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it was a just very solid play from Xeno. The early Banshee was really good against the Roach Opener that NXZ was doing. He was able to see anything that might be coming in. He did quite a bit of damage, actually, both of the games. So just really good play by Xeno.
Yeah, and that's the kind of sort of thing he's going to need to keep prepared as he moves forward, potentially playing against Harstem or a rematch with IA. But let's hear what Xenocider himself has to say. He's up with Smix.
Thank you very much, Nathanius. And the lone American in the group stays alive. Give it up for Xenocider. Xenocider, you started the day off with a tough loss against IA 2-0. You looked completely different in this series. What went right for you in this series as opposed to the last one?
I think most of the time, just the first game in any offline event, you're gonna feel a lot of nerves because you're just not conditioned to the place. So yeah, I feel like I got more settled in now, and also I think IA is like really a little bit better than NXZ, so it went a bit easier for me in the series.
Well, speaking of IA, you're going to be playing either IA or Harstem, depending on who makes it out of the winners match. Do you have a preference on who you play, or either or?
Yeah, I wanna play IA so I can crush him in the decider match.
Crush him. Okay, so you're confident in that rematch.
Yeah.
Is there a particular reason? Do you feel like the nerves were what got to you in the first series, and that you didn't get to show your full potential?
I think a combination of the nerves, and I had like a general idea of how this group was gonna play out in my head. So it would be the first match, me against Ionsu, and I just played really standard so I could see like how he played. And yeah, I think I'm prepared for the decider match if I play against him.
All right. Well, Xenocider, you are the lone American representative in WCS Premier League. How much would it mean to you to carry that American flag and make it to the round of 16 in Toronto?
Yeah, I think now I don't have any excuses. I don't have any anything to say really. It's my responsibility now. It's my duty to carry on NA and USA.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Xenocider. I'm looking forward to seeing your match in that last match, but it depends. Oh, you want to say something, Lebo?
Yeah, I'd also like to say, since I don't know if I'm going to have another winner's interview, that I'd like to pay respect to my grandfather who passed away last week. I wasn't able to make the funeral this 3 days ago because I was preparing for this, so yeah, rest in peace.
All right, well, thank you very much, Lebo, and of course, respects to him, but Xenocider, you have played really well, so I'm sure he's proud watching you. Guys, we will be back after this break. It'll be the winner's match of Group D. It'll be Harstem versus IA to see who makes it to the round of 16 in first place. More WCS Premier League action after this.
I move objects with my mind. I climb the tallest mountains and slay dragons. I defend my galaxy from ruthless aliens. I am never bored. I am stronger. I am faster. I am G1.